Good morning. After 3 months of waiting, elite sport is set to return. Here's sports coming back in England. Yeah, after 3 long months of waiting, it does feel like it's almost over now. If anyone was watching the government briefing yesterday, they used it to announce this series of guidelines around just how sport can return safely in England from tomorrow. Now, there will be no fans, obviously, and there will be some rules around social distancing. They'll also need some testing in place as well. Don't expect to switch on the TV, though, and see the likes of the Premier League, rugby or even cricket on your screens tomorrow. You will be disappointed. For most sporting bodies, this is actually about just getting the ball rolling, getting back into training again. And the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Jonathan Van Tam, was asked whether he felt the return of sport could potentially lead to spreading the virus. Yeah, so I mentioned there will be no major team sports like the Premier League on TVs from tomorrow. But if you are a horse racing fan, you're in luck, because the first competitive action will be at Newcastle Racecourse tomorrow afternoon. And the other one to look out for, snooker, is also back tomorrow. The Championship League's event is to be staged behind closed doors at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. Looking forward to that. And of course, football has been back underway in Germany for a couple of weeks now. And Bayern Munich took a step closer to an 8th consecutive title by beating Dusseldorf 5-0. Still a long time to wait before the Olympics, of course. Tokyo 2020 will take place next summer. Dina Asher-Smith, one of the favourites, but the 200-metre world champion, says the postponement of this year's event has in many ways for her been liberating, has actually taken off a lot of pressure. It's a great watch, actually. There's also a brilliant clip that's doing the rounds of Dina talking about her training. She's been doing a lot more long distance than she would be used to, and her teammates in one of her Instagram posts were some deer, which I thought was very sweet. She's quite enjoying a bit of lockdown, I think. Oh, good morning. After 3 months of waiting, elite sport is set to return. It's back, can I say it? After 3 long months, it does feel now like the wait is finally over. If you're watching the government briefing yesterday, they talked about this series of guidelines about how sport can safely return in England from tomorrow. Now, there will be, of course, no fans present. There'll also be a lot of rules around social distancing. Testing will be required as well. I will say one thing, don't expect to switch on the TV tomorrow and see the Premier League and rugby and cricket all back. You'll be disappointed. For most sporting bodies, it's really about just getting the ball rolling, getting back to training again. And there are still some concerns about whether there is a risk involved with this. And that's something that was put to the Deputy Chief Medical Officer, Jonathan Van Tam. So I mentioned there will be no major team sports on your TVs from tomorrow, but instead, if you're a racing fan, you are in luck. The first competitive action will be at Newcastle Racecourse tomorrow. And the other one to look out for is snooker. That also makes a comeback tomorrow. The Championship League event to be staged behind closed doors at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. Now, after this weekend's government announcement, Britain's sailors are preparing to move to the next stage of training from tomorrow. A number of measures have already been implemented to allow some of the squad to continue their preparations for next year's Olympics. Our reporter Nick Hope has been finding out how they've been navigating some of the challenges. That's a bit of a risk, isn't it? Moving in with your work colleague just so you can keep on training. Dedication. Now, we mentioned horse racing is making a comeback tomorrow, so we thought we'd bring you something to whet your appetite. Camel racing down under. Take a look. For me, it's the commentator. He gets so excited. I don't know if you could hear much of it there, but he is very excited. Good morning. After 3 months of waiting, elite sport is set to return. It still feels bizarre to say that, doesn't it? Sport back tomorrow. It's been a long 3 months, hasn't it? But it does feel like the wait is finally over. Now, if you were watching the government briefing yesterday, they were actually revealing this list of guidelines around how sport can safely return in England from tomorrow. Now, we know that there'll be no fans, obviously. There are also a lot of rules around social distancing. Testing will be required as well. I will say one thing, don't expect to switch on the TV tomorrow and see the Premier League and rugby and cricket all back. It's not. You're going to be disappointed. However, horse racing fans, you're in luck. The first competitive action will be at Newcastle Racecourse from tomorrow. Feels like an age ago now. Now, the other one to look out for tomorrow is snooker. It's back as well. The Championship League events to be staged behind closed doors at the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes. Now, the venue has been... Well, it's still a long time to wait before the Olympics, of course. Tokyo 2020 taking place next summer now. Dina Asher-Smith, one of the favourites, but the 200-metre world champion, says the postponement of this year's event has, in many ways, been liberating for her, and it's actually taken off a lot of pressure. I will be watching. Now, we said that horse racing will be back tomorrow, so we thought we'd give you something to whet your appetite. Camel racing down under. So it's all for a good cause, but honestly, that commentator, I hope the commentary tomorrow when the horse racing comes back is half as excited as that.